Hello, you beautiful people. So, I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys really want some of the upcoming characters who are going to be featured in patch 3.3 and 3.4. And you probably want to know how many Stellar Jades you can collect in the next patch for your Phainon funds, right? Or maybe you're saving for some other characters. Well, in any case, you've landed on the perfect video to get that info. Today, I'm mainly going to go over all the Stellar Jades that you can collect in the next patch, and along with this, I'll also tell you about all the different sources to get these Jades. Before we begin, I'm just going to mention the usual disclaimer that these calculations, which I use throughout the video, are based on a rough early estimate, and you're most likely going to get a little bit more Jades than the final amount. Yep, just keep that in the back of your mind. With that being said, let's begin without wasting any more of your time or energy. Okay, starting off with the basic info, this patch is going to go live on May 21st for the Asia and Europe servers and May 20th for the America ones. To simplify it more though, here is the launch time of patch 3.3 for different time zones. This patch is basically going to follow the normal HSR patch schedule, and it will last for a total of 42 days or 6 weeks. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, but I'm going to assume that you're totally broke when you launch version 3.3 for the first time, just for the sake of calculation. Alright, firstly, starting with the very classic daily commissions, if you complete all your dailies for 42 days without missing even a single day, you're going to get a total of 2,520 Jades from it. I would say dailies are one of the most reliable and consistent ways to get limited currency in pretty much any gacha game, and in HSR, the dailies are always completed by the time you're done spending your Trailblaze power, so that's pretty good. Moving on, being done with the dailies, let's take a look at all the rewards that you can get from completing the endgame content. So, just like all the other patches, version 3.3 is going to have a total of 3 endgame resets during the entirety of its duration, and we're getting a single rotation of all the 3 endgame modes, namely Memory of Chaos, Pure Fiction, and Apocalyptic Shadow. If you complete all these modes up to their highest available level, then it will grant you with a massive total of 2,400 Jades. Now, if you just started playing HSR recently, you're most likely not going to be able to complete these endgame modes up to their highest floor with your current roster. Don't worry though, I already took care of that, and here are some calculations for the rewards in the lower floors, so I hope it helps. Next up, let's talk about our weekly simulated or divergent universe runs, and the total number of Jades that you can get out of it. So, in the next patch, if you complete all your 6 weekly divergent or simulated universe runs, Madame Herta will graciously grant you with a pretty decent total of 1,350 Jades. Keep in mind that this calculation is done assuming that your account is already at the highest equilibrium level, which is equilibrium level 6. Just as I did for the endgame content though, the people who started recently don't need to worry at all, because here are the rewards that you can get at each specific equilibrium level. In the next patch, even though we're technically going to get a total of 2 monthly shop resets, I'm only going to count the June one for patch 3.3. And we will save the July monthly shop reset for patch 3.4 because it's really close to that patch update. Now, keeping this in mind, we're going to get a total of 5 limited tickets from this shop reset, or you can say that we're getting 800 Jades along with 5 standard tickets, which is pretty nice. Alright, with that one, we're finally done discussing all the rewards that you can get from the recurring sources of Jades in version 3.3. Moving on, let's quickly discuss about the Jades that you can get from the limited time events, quests, and all that stuff. First of all, the classic Gift of Odyssey event is obviously going to happen in the next patch as well, and honestly, I think this event is just a recurring source of Jades at this point because it appears in quite literally every patch. Anyways, like usual, this event will grant you a total of 10 limited tickets or 1,600 Jades just for logging in the game for 7 days in total, so that's pretty nice. Other than the Gift of Odyssey event, we're also getting some massive updates in the Divergent universe as well, where they release all the remaining 6 Golden Blood Spoons. Firstly, let me preface this by saying that for now, we don't really know the exact amount of Jades that you can get from the Divergent universe update, but looking back at all the previous updates, I think I'm going to take an estimate of around 10 pulls or 1,600 Jades from this update if you thoroughly complete it, which is pretty sweet. Next up, just like most of the other patches, in this patch we're getting a total of 2 limited-time playable events, namely Trace and Drift and Legend of the Galactic Baseballer, Demon King. So, the flagship event of this patch is going to be Trace and Drift, and this event will grant you a total of 1,000 Jades for completing it. Now, as for the other event, the Galactic Baseballer, Demon King 1 will reward you with decent total of 500 Jades. Overall, if you thoroughly finish the limited time events in patch 3.3, they will grant you a pretty sizable total of 1,500 Jades. Honestly, maybe off topic, but both of the events for this patch look really fun, and I'm genuinely kind of excited to try out the new racing event. Anyways, with that done, we're going to move on from the limited time events, and let's go and take a look at all the Jades that you can get from exploration content. So, in the next patch, we're getting a total of 2 new areas which will be available for us to explore, and if I include all the Jades from the treasure chests, trotters, puzzles, and formidable enemies, the total amount that I get comes out to be around 500 Jades. Just want to say though, always try to take these exploration rewards as somewhat of an estimate, because it can increase or decrease upon the live release of the patch. Also, I genuinely think the new areas in this patch look insanely pretty, and they're probably one of my favorite areas in the entire game. Next up, obviously we're going to get a continuation of the main or the Trailblazer quest in the next patch, and we're also going to see a new weekly boss as well, which looks really cool. If I add up all the rewards though from the normal quests as well as the Trailblazer quest, you would get around 450 Jades for completing them, which is not that much, but it's still a pretty decent amount. We're also getting 600 Jades from the server maintenance and bug compensation for patch 3.3, and another 300 Jades from the patch 3.4 live stream codes as well, so do keep that in mind. If anyone is curious, this live stream should take place around June 20th for all the different time zones, so don't forget to watch it. Alright, at last, let me add up all the rewards from the miscellaneous things like character trials, web events, and banner codes. So, from all these things, we can get a decent total of 300 Jades, which is not that bad in my opinion. Finally, if I add up all the amount of stellar Jades that I mentioned in the entire video from different sources, we get a massive total of 13,920 Jades. Now converting all these Jades into limited tickets for a better estimation, we should get a total of around 87 pulls, which is a bit less than most normal patches, but it's still fine. By the way, do keep in mind that this calculation does not include any of the paid stuff like the Express Pass or the paid Battle Pass. If you do happen to buy the monthly pass though, then the amount of Jades that you can get in the entirety of patch 3.2 increases up to 18,300 Jades or 114 limited tickets. Honestly, a pretty decent patch if you do buy the Express Passes and stuff. Well, that's the entire calculation for the total amount of Jades that you can acquire from all the different sources in patch 3.3. Do remember to comment down which character you're going to pull for in the upcoming patch, because as always, I'm curious if you guys are pulling for any of the new characters or maybe you're skipping this patch for 3.4. Also, if you actually ended up watching until the very end, I want to say thanks, and you might want to consider subscribing to the channel as well. With that being said, I really love y'all, and I will see you in another one.